Well, guys, it's here. It's the first week of the 2023 NFL season. I wait all year long for this time. I wait for football all summer, all spring. The draft is always like a little teaser to kind of keep me going, right? Like a little taste to keep me going. And well, then training camp starts. And then we get into the preseason, and then there's always roster moves. But now we're in it. Now we're here. Now's when it all matters. Now's when all of the time that the players put in, all of the repetitions they put in the weight room and on the practice field. This is when it all starts to come together. This is when it all really matters. I love this time of year. I love this time of year for so many reasons. Number one, fall is my absolute favorite season. I have really, really bad allergies. So all summer and spring, I'm just suffering. I don't know if you can tell how congested I am right now.
Wow, this has just been such a pleasure. I'm such a lucky boy. I can't wait to go home.
But also, fall means what we're here for. Fall means football. And football, man, football is my all-time favoriteest thing. I grew up playing football from a very young age. I grew up playing football. I played from like third or fourth grade all the way up until I graduated high school. And although I was recruited to play at smaller schools around the area in college, Division II and Division III schools, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I thought it would be more fun to sit around and get high on people's couches and party. So I didn't pursue that avenue. And, that's one of the biggest regrets that I have in life. But that's neither here nor there. Football's always been very important to me. It's something that my family always kind of came together around on Sundays. It's something that my mom and I can talk about. It's something that my dad and I would watch together. My brother played ball as well. So it was always something that we could kind of relate to on a familial level. So it's always been really important to me. And I believe that when it really comes down to the dick and balls of it all, football is one of the purest forms of a meritocracy that you can get, where because it's so many moving parts, you have to be the best at what you do in order to succeed. And that's just some way that I've always kind of lived my life, is by a meritocracy. Has it always worked out? No, not really, but at times it can. And which is why I appreciate sport so much, is because sport really comes down to meritocracy. And whoever's the best is the best, and they can do the best. They tend to get paid the best, except for some things. So, look, we got a pretty good episode here for you today, you guys. Welcome back. In case you haven't been here before, I'm Hat and Beard. This is the Hat and Beard Show, where we talk about the NFL, mostly focusing on my beloved Detroit Lions here. We got my producer, director, B-Rad, hanging out with us. We got our man coaster going on with a fresh cup of coffee. You guys, let's get into it without any further ado. All right, guys, the first news article I got up here for you was a bit of information that kind of came to light yesterday. Our defensive tackle, Isaiah Buggs, learned that he's going to be a healthy scratch on Thursday's opener against the Chiefs. For those of you guys that don't know, a healthy scratch means that the player is viable, they're totally good to go, but the coaching staff has opted to scratch them from the roster. As you can see here, Isaiah Buggs frustrated. This is from the Detroit News. Isaiah Buggs sparked a wave of speculation Sunday after a cryptic posting on the social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, blah, blah, blah. I'm good, but just know that situations change, Buggs wrote. Y'all going to see. The message coincided with the removal of most references to the Lions on his social media profiles, which we know that that's something that players always tend to do. They always kind of like to hop on that. We used to call it vague booking back in the day, where you just kind of like to toy with the emotions of people on social media. Way back in the day, it kind of circled around who was like your top 8 or whatever on MySpace. Way back in the day, top 8 or top 10 or whatever the hell it was. Most references to the Lions on social media sparked some to believe that he might have been cut or traded. The immediate follow-up rumors spiraled out of control on social media. The Lions were nearing a deal for superstar players such as Tampa Bay's Mike Evans or Kansas City Chiefs defensive tackle Chris Jones. Jones is currently holding out. Now, why am I talking about this Isaiah Buggs story and Chris Jones? Well, for one, we play the Chiefs on Thursday in the season opener. I don't know if you're aware of that. It's kind of a big deal. And Chris Jones, who is arguably one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL, especially when you look at the pressure rate that he generates against both single offensive players and when he's getting double teamed. He's, very talented. He's a very talented player. Chris Jones is a very, very electrifying player. But he's holding out because he wants to get paid more money. And he's not in camp. He's even tweeted or put on X that he's willing to hold out till like week 8. And as of right now, I think he's already racked up like $2 million in fines for not being available. So with Buggs being deactivated for the week, some are thinking maybe Brad Holmes is going to work himself a little deal and finagle Chris Jones away from the Kansas City Chiefs. Is that possible? Well, yeah, we have a lot of cap space moving forward. Moving forward, we have a shitload of cap space, and Brad Holmes has shown that he really is good at negotiating players' contracts to a more viable, cap-friendly, team-friendly situation if the player is good. He's also willing to spend money, and I think that if Chris Jones were to be acquired by the Detroit Lions, depending on what they want in exchange for him, that's something that I think if his production's there, Brad Holmes isn't an idiot, and he'd probably be willing to spend the adequate amount of money. We'll get to the amount of money here in a minute here. After returning to practice Monday, Buggs tried to downplay his social media posts while also revealing the likely source of his frustrations, acknowledging he's been told he won't be active for the regular season opener against Kansas City. As of right now, they told me I'm not going to play. He said that okay. So that's what we got. I'll be going straight forward with this because we're going to be straightforward with me, and as of right now, I will not be playing. Right. So he actually came in on the injury report Saturday. I think he missed practice for an illness, and he's on the injury report this morning. I can pull that up for you, see. Right here. This is this morning at 10 o'clock in the morning, 9/5/23 at 10 a.m., and there you can see Isaiah Buggs' illness at full practice on Monday. So he was full practice, but he was sick. I don't know what's going on with there. But you also see Frank Ragnow popped up, but he had a full practice with a toe injury. We know that Emmanuel Mosley probably wasn't going to go. And Ife Melifanu, yeah, it is what it is. But back to the article here. His standing in the I remember we re-signed him. I was really hype about our re-signing him last year. His stabilizing performance earned him a contract extension, a 2-year, $4.5 million deal that has more than $2 million in guarantees. So that's where I was talking about how Brad Holmes will reward players, but he's not going to spend an absolute ball breaker amount of money in that, like this situation here. If we were to move Isaiah Buggs to acquire a piece, it's not going to hurt us that much to finalize the deal, pay him what he's already guaranteed, depending on how his contract works out and how a deal like that would work out. And so, right here, his standing in the depth chart looked to be in question early in camp when the Lions began working rookie Broderick Martin. Now, Broderick Martin has looked really, really good the past 2-3 games there in the preseason. I actually liked what I seen out of him. They started rotating him into the first team here, and it became clear in the preseason when Buggs was playing in the games while starters rested, and Benito Jones was seeing increased practice reps at the nose tackle, which Buggs was your one technique, your nose tackle, last year the majority of the time. He said it was a surprise to me, actually. That's why I say you don't always know everything. playing an important role last year, leading the way. You think you're going to be that guy. You thinking they're all in with you, and boom, with a snap of your fingers, it's like that. Like I said, I've always been a team player. I've always been a role player. Whatever they have for me, that's what I'm going to do. So, he seems to be kind of taking it pretty well. He had that little outburst on social media where he takes down any references to the Lions and doesn't want any pictures with because him and his girlfriend are fighting. Oh, Isaiah Bugs and his girlfriend are fighting, and I'm not gonna like her selfies. Boo hoo hoo. But then he realized he was being a baby back bitch, and apparently he's gonna settle into being a role player. I mean, that is what he's done. See, after venting on social media, Bugs planned on recentering himself and doing the only thing he knows how to do in a situation like this. I'm always determined to go harder every time. Things go against me and not my way, Bugs said. That's something I've been dealing with all my life, even from junior college to Bama, University of Alabama, to the Steelers here, and to then Detroit. See, so, my man's been through it a little bit. He's had some ups and downs, and so the reason that I say that is the junior college situation is, for those of you who don't know, I'll just explain it real quick. Junior colleges work as like a stopgap for players who, aren't really academically eligible, have ran into some legal issues, some type of situation where they're not able to attend the big name schools, your power conference schools. They're ineligible. And they'll go and play in a junior college, and then they have 2 years to become eligible, and then they're done. It'd be like if your community college had a football team. And a lot of times they're able to leverage, their athleticism, what they were at one point, So say hypothetically you were recruited to go play at Georgia, and you were like a top recruit, and your first year there you screwed up, you couldn't pass your classes or whatever, or something happened. And they're like, well, you can't be at the University of Georgia. You'd go play at fucking Atlanta Community College or whatever they got down there. I don't know. In which case then you could academically become viable again to play in the NCAA, as well as still playing ball and getting film on tape. But then you don't necessarily have to go back to your original school. Other schools then have the option to come and get you in with the transfer portal now. Who knows how that even works? I'm not really the most up and up cat on how the NCAA works. I like the NCAA. It's just there's a lot of moving pieces to college football. It's kind of hard to keep tabs on, and I'm much more of a fan of the Detroit Lions, or of the NFL and the Detroit Lions. So the reason I say all that is Isaiah Bugs clearly has gone through it before and been able to bounce back to go from junior college to Bama, and now he's in the bigs, and he's on a second team, second contract with the Detroit Lions. Not bad. I mean, hopefully Isaiah Bugs can either turn it around. Broderick Martin could be that dude, or I wouldn't be mad if somehow we were able to acquire Chris Jones. If Chris Jones were somehow viable to come over to Detroit, I wouldn't be mad about that. Steal him out from underneath Kansas City. Why am I talking about Chris Jones? Well, let's get into a new segment here we're going to call Around the NFL with Hat and Beard.
Let's talk about buttered sausage. Talk about buttered sausage, where it comes from, what it does. Why is it doing what it's doing? Get it out of my face. What about buttered sausage?
Hey, did you like that? Comment down below if you liked that. Let me know if you like that. All right, so for those of you who have not been aware, Chris Jones is holding out from the Kansas City Chiefs training camp, everything. He wants more money. I don't blame him. Kansas City played the opener for their season on Thursday. This is from over at foxnews.com. I can't really pull it up because the website went in offline mode, and I'm in my garage, so bear with me here, folks. He's all-pro lineman Chris Jones, who's entering his final year of his 4-year, $80 million deal. He needs more money. He wants more money because $80 million over 4 years. It's $20 million a year. And boy, I don't know what I would do with even a fraction of that money. I can't sleep at night because my shoulders hurt too bad that I wake up every 15, 20 minutes because my hands have gone numb and I'm constantly rolling around to go to my job where I make nowhere near $20 million a year. But please, Chris Jones, tell me about how awful you have it on your $20 million, $80 million 4-year deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. Please elaborate. Tell me how awful and hard you have. First things first, I know Chris not being here is a viewpoint. This point is very surprising to the Kansas City Chiefs. I know right now the difference between $9.5 million over 2 years. Chris has on the table a 2-year fully guaranteed extension that's $27.25 million a year. So on the table right now, holy shit. Holy hell. All right, guys. On the table right now, my man has a 2-year contract worth $54.5 million. So $27.25 million a year. Chris wants 2 years at $64 million, which is $32 million a year. My guy wants $32 million a year. Aaron Donald is the highest paid defensive tackle. He makes 31.7. All right, let's look at this real quick. I've got pulled up the top 10. The top 10. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10. This is all 10 of the highest paid defensive tackles in the league, from the highest paid to the absolute lowest paid. Or not lowest, but the 10th highest paid. Number 1, Aaron Donald at $31.6 million a year. That's a lot of money, but I'll explain to you in a second here why Aaron Donald was able to get that money and why nobody else can get that money quite yet. Quinnen Williams just inked a new deal worth $24 million over or $96 million over 4. That's $24 million a year. Jeffrey Simmons over at Tennessee makes $23.5 million a year. Darren Payne signed a pretty hefty deal this offseason, bringing in $22.5 million over for the Washington Commies. Dexter Lawrence is tied with Darren Payne and Javon Hargrave. So these 3 guys all make around the same-ish 21. Okay, Javon Hargrave is tied for 6th with Leonard Williams at $21 million a year and DeForest Buckner. And then all the way down here at number 9, Chris Jones. $20 million a year. You hear that train? Man, I love it. I love it. I love that there's trains in the background and I can't ever do anything about them. Now I got to let you know that where I'm at, there are a bunch of people that keep getting killed on the railroad tracks, because where I live, apparently there's nothing better to do than for dumbass dipshits to go walking on a railroad in the middle of the night, and they keep getting run over. So these cocksuckers, they start blowing that goddamn whistle about 55 fucking miles away, and they don't stop until they reach the goddamn Mackinac Bridge. Oh, Jesus. Jumping up and down. It is by far one of the most annoying situations that I have to deal with. And then rounding out the top 10, Jonathan Allen. Big fan of Jonathan Allen with a nice, cool $18 million a year. 4-year deal worth $72 million. So, Chris Jones. Chris Jones wants to go from making $20 million a year to making $32 million a year, which would make him a higher paid defensive tackle than Aaron Donald. Chris Jones is probably worth that. Can he get that out of the Chiefs? Probably not. I don't know what the Chiefs' salary cap situation is like. You Chiefs fans are going to need to go ahead and let me know. Take and weigh in on that option. Let me know what your guys' salary situation looks like. Because the reason that Aaron Donald was able to get that money, which you can see is like, I mean, what is that, like a $9 million deal difference between the two? 24 to 33, 24 to 32, 6 and 2, $8 million. $8 million a year. That's a whole ass player on the salary cap. That's a whole ass player difference on the salary cap between those two players on any roster. So, How did Aaron Donald get that money, and how will Chris Jones not get that money? Chris Jones is younger than Aaron Donald was when he inked that contract. Aaron Donald was happy with all of the accolades that he had amassed in his professional career. Aaron Donald understands that it's literally a waiting game from the day he retires to the day he puts on a gold jacket. So Aaron Donald went out and he told the LA Rams that this is the number that you need to keep me from retiring, or I'm done playing football. Is Chris Jones willing to do that? Probably not. Chris Jones is still a little young, and he's got more money to make. Clearly, he wants more money. $64 million, $32 million a year. Holy crappers, man. I don't know if that's even worth it. Players don't see the outliers. You feel like you're the best, you should be paid accordingly, or you fall into that slot where you're at. Period, point blank. And right now, Chris Jones, he feels he's the best. I mean, when I look at the situation, the Kansas City Chiefs, last thing I want is for someone not present to become a distraction because their goal is not winning opening night. This is long term. This is, do we have a talent? Yeah, see, so that's the other thing. That's the other really cool thing about this. As a Lions fan, it's two wonderful situations. Number one, this starts a whole conversation of, oh my God, are the Lions going to trade for Chris Jones? Why would he come to Detroit? It's cold here. Well, we play in the NFC North, and we play, us and the Vikings both play indoors. So that's eight home games for us indoors, plus to Minnesota once. So that's 9. So you play the majority of your games indoors, and we're a contender. We're a contender just like Kansas City. Kansas City is going to be hungover from the Super Bowl. Kansas City is going to be hungover from the Super Bowl. Kansas City lost some weapons. Kansas City lost their offensive coordinator. Kansas City has this Chris Jones thing as a distraction. I'm not saying Kansas City is going to be bad. I'm not saying that we're going to come out there and just smash Kansas City right in the ass and take it to them all day long. What I am saying is that this is stirring up a beautiful storm for the Lions to come in and steal it right from underneath their noses. Just to come in and go to work. Go to work. Do what it is that we do, and that's play ball. Play Dan Campbell ball. I think that this game is going to go one of two ways. Either we come out and we play ball control and absolutely force the Kansas City Chiefs to break to our will, or Patrick Mahomes is going to come out and do Patrick Mahomes things and show us why he's being courted as one of the greatest of all time at such a young age. And if that's the case, then we're going to look really silly, and it's going to be a hard couple of days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be a hard week because I'm putting a lot of faith in the Lions in this game. I think that we really can do it. I think that what we're going to see is, at least until Jameson Williams is back, don't be surprised if you see Jahmyr Gibbs get a tremendous amount of work all over the field. I think he's going to be a nice salve to cover up the JMO suspension, right? The missing Jameson Williams on the field. I wouldn't expect, unless JMO doesn't work out, I wouldn't expect that to see all season long. I would like to see both backs on the field at the same time, both David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs against the Chiefs. I'm really hoping to see a nice ball-controlled game. We'll talk more about that on Wednesday or Thursday when we get into the actual game about everything. But this is boding well for us right now. I like this theory. Again, it's just a theory. And we all do this. We all do this. We all get way... Look, let's just put this into perspective, okay? If you are the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs and you get a call from Brad Holmes, first of all, I hope you have enough common fucking sense to realize that he gonna get you. He gonna get you. Yeah. Brad Holmes gonna get you. Oh, yeah. Brad Holmes gonna get you. He gonna get you. He gonna wheel you. He gonna deal you. He gonna come out the other end. But you hear that they want to trade Isaiah Buggs for Chris Jones. Your first question is, and what? And what else? Because that's the only rational next step. Isaiah Buggs, you're not just going to trade Isaiah Buggs straight up for Chris Jones, right? That's fucking ludicrous. That's insane. Chris Jones is one of the best defensive players in the league. Isaiah Buggs is good. So, what are we as Lions fans willing to give up in exchange for Chris Jones? How much draft capital? First round, obviously. What, 2 firsts and a third? For how much are you willing to give up for this $32 million a year player that wants a 2-year deal? What are you willing to give up for it? I don't think I'm willing to give up that much. I'm not. I don't need Chris Jones. I have players. I have good players. I have plenty of players. I have enough players that I can keep rotating them in. Fresh players, depth at the position, flexibility in the salary cap moving forward. I just feel like that is the better decision. I don't think that bringing in Chris Jones is smart, and I just don't think it's a logical step. He's going to go to some place like fucking Dallas. He wants to go to a large media market, okay, where he can get paid lots of money. He can be the guy, get out from underneath Mahomes and Kelsey's shadow and be the dude. He's going to Dallas, all right? He's going to go to Dallas. Wouldn't surprise me if he goes to Dallas. Anyway, folks, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks for suffering with me through this. I know that the sinuses have made me sound kind of weird. The background noises have kind of been kind of wonky, but thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Try and do yourselves a favor and have a good rest of your day. Do me a favor and have yourself a good rest of your day. Stay out of trouble. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And God, motherfucking speed.